One of the things that makes Donald Trump a petulant man baby is his fundamental inability to make a decision about anything using any other criteria other than, how does this affect me? Well, CNN has really bad news for how that turned out with respect to bombing Iran. And things are only going to get worse for Trump because earlier, CNN revealed that Trump's big, beautiful mission was a failure by almost any measure. Take a look at what CNN revealed yesterday, keeping in mind there's even worse news for Trump today.
That as of right now, it does not appear that they ended or obliterated Iran's nuclear program. Instead, they only set it back by months, according to people who were briefed on the assessment. Now, these findings are obviously at odds with President Donald Trump's repeated assertions that the strikes, quote, completely and totally obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities.
And that comes on top of the New York Times reporting on how Trump came to the decision to bomb Iran. He was already looking like a complete putz for his military parade and falling asleep at that parade. The Times reported that Trump was watching Fox News coverage of Israel's attack and thought it looked pretty good. In their reporting, they said he marveled to advisors about what he said was a brilliant Israeli military operation, which involved a series of precision strikes that killed key figures in Iran's military leadership and blasted away strategic weapon sites. Mr. Trump took calls on his cell phone from reporters and began hailing the operation as excellent and very successful, and hinting that he had much more to do with it than people realized. And that's when he allowed the war hawks to swoop in and convince him that indeed he would look strong and powerful if he bombed Iran. So the idea that Iran was weeks away or even months away from developing a nuclear weapon was secondary to one thing and one thing only: how it would make Trump look. But the big precision bombing is not making Trump look good. Christian Caroline Levitt was calling people losers for leaking the information, as good Christians are bound to do. And just today, Trump was trying to babble his way through the damning information that the bombing was not a success, saying this.
One follow-up on Iran. Both you and Secretary Rubio and Hegseth mentioned the leak. But can you clarify, is the intelligence correct or is the intelligence wrong?
Well, the intelligence was very inconclusive. Okay. The intelligence says we don't know. It could have been very severe. That's what the intelligence says. So I guess that's correct. But I think we can take that we don't know. It was very severe. It was obliteration. And you'd think that a media outlet would say, isn't that a great thing?
So they can try all they want with a "you're bad-mouthing the troops" routine, but how effective is it going to be for an administration that's cutting VA services to give tax breaks to billionaires? Well, according to CNN polling, it's probably not going to help. Trump's numbers have been tanking thanks to tariffs, thanks to Elon and his war on federal government workers, thanks to Kennedy and his war on vaccines and scientists, thanks to the lizard who learned to walk upright Stephen Miller and his war on brown people, and thanks to LA and the new Trump Gestapo. Bombing Iran was supposed to lift Trump out of disapproval and into the arms of an adoring public. Well, CNN's latest polling says just the opposite. Watch this.
CNN poll just out is giving a real-time glimpse really into how Americans view what is going on right now, the conflict there, and with 56% of Americans saying they do not approve of the strikes that President Trump carried out on Iranian nuclear facilities this weekend. CNN's David Chalian joining us now with much more on what is inside this poll. This happened really in real time. This poll was being conducted, David. Tell us, take us inside these numbers.
And as with everything in American politics these days, so much is driven by partisanship and our polarized nature. Look at it broken down by party. 82% of Republicans approve of the strike. Down at the bottom right there, 88% of Democrats disapprove of the strikes. But look in the middle, the independents. It is broadly unpopular with the folks in the middle. 60% disapprove, 40% approve.
About the threat going forward now.
Yes. So we asked, is Iran more or less of a threat after the military action? And you see here partisanship at play as well. 85% of Democrats say Iran is more of a threat now. 60% of independents say that. But this, look at the Republican line there, Kate. This is so interesting. 30% of Republicans, of the president's own party, believe that Iran is more of a threat now due to the military strikes. Only a slim majority of Republicans, 53%, say that it is less of a threat.
How has this impacted the overall trust level that Americans in this poll have on Trump's handling here?
Yeah, we asked that question. Do you trust Donald Trump to make the right decisions as it deals with U.S. force in Iran? 55% say no, 45% say yes. That kind of tracks with his overall approval rating right now in the country. And again, broken down by party, 87% of Republicans have trust in Donald Trump. But only 38% of independents trust Donald Trump to make the right decisions in dealing with using force in Iran. 38% of independents is not likely where he wants to be. And I think the president's key understanding of where the public is right now as they're watching this with his frustration this morning. He is so eager to make sure that this ceasefire holds, that this can be a clean victory for him, because he knows he's dealing not only with a split in his party, but with a country that is warily watching to see if indeed this has the potential of growing into some kind of larger conflict.
You look at these numbers, and yes, you have to ask yourself, what is it going to take for Republicans to leave the cult? Because the most frightening aspect of these numbers is this: 53% of Republicans now think that Trump just made Iran more dangerous. More or less a threat? Do you know what that means? For the average American, that means terrorist attack. So Republicans are acknowledging that Trump just made us all less safe, but it was a good decision. I'm more frightened by that than I am of Iran. Because, frankly, if we want to make ourselves safe from Iranian terror, all we have to do is make a deal with Iran that in exchange for not retaliating, we'll not only get rid of Trump, we'll hand him over to Iran. Talk about your win-win. Reporting from Rome, I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupied Democrats.